If you're watching this video and you're anything like me, and I hope that you're not, then you will consider yourself in some way, shape, or form to be a writer, to be someone who writes stuff. Hey, maybe it started in childhood. Maybe you were a bit ahead of your peers in school. Maybe you were always quite creative and you started putting these thoughts down on paper and you got some praise and that snowballed and you started to write longer things and more complicated things. Maybe you entered a few competitions and did quite well. Maybe your teachers told you that you were talented and it's something that you should pursue, and maybe you've kept that with you your whole life and you've always thought that that's something you should pursue, something you wanted to do, something you wanted to succeed in. All very well and good, all very noble, apart from the fact that when it comes down to it, when it comes down to putting yourself at your desk and doing the work, you'd pretty much rather do anything else. Sure, you like the idea of writing, but the doing of writing is honestly a kind of hell. And this is a difficult thing to balance within yourself, and it leaves you feeling sort of like you're a bit of a failure, even though no one told you you had to do this thing in the first place. And then also, if you're like me, every time a new year comes around, you'll want to start with a bunch of resolutions. You'll want to kind of say to yourself that this is the year that it's all going to change, and you'll be really anal and meticulous about it. A few years ago, I think 2019 or 2020 was the first year, downloaded like this brilliant Excel sheet tracker for tracking your writing and for tracking all the words that you wrote that year. And every year I fill it out and I fill it with a bunch of projects that I'm definitely going to accomplish. All kinds of short stories, that novel that I'll write for the first time. And honestly, it's sort of ludicrous how little time elapses before that all just goes to shit and falls apart. So, maybe you are like me, and maybe you're watching this video, and maybe you're wondering what sort of sage advice I have to offer in order to stop all of these things happening. Well, the truth is, I have no advice for you, really. I have some ideas that I'm going to try this year. I'm going to change things up, and we're going to sort of see whether or not they have any effect. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this notion that in order to be successful during the year, in order to sort of continue down this writerly path, you need to write a lot, or you need to produce mountains of work. I think for me, what I've recognized is that the hard part, the really difficult part, is just sitting down at the desk. And so I've completely lowered the expectations of what I have to achieve in order to sort of get the tick, right? The tick to say, you done it, you did your bit for the day, and you can relax, and you're not a failure, and everything's going to be fine. And for me, what I've decided is, part one of my new plan is I'm going to say that if I just sit down and write for 15 minutes, that's it. I don't have to write 1,000 words. I don't have to produce a short story a week, which is some of the previous goals that I've set for myself. All you have to do is find 15 minutes in your day and write. Now, of course, the thought is that if you do that, then you might write for 20 minutes, you might write for 30 minutes, you might just stick it out for a little longer, you might get wrapped up in something. If it's a weekend, you might put an hour behind it, maybe that's the thought, but I'm removing that pressure from myself and just saying you don't have to. To get the tick, to be a success, all you have to do is write for 15 minutes. The second thing I'm doing to help with that is basically just to make that 15 minutes, finding that 15 minutes as easy as possible. As someone who likes to read and likes to write, of course, I have a million notebooks that, I've written in the first 3 pages of and never used again. Some of them are like these expensive, what are these things called? Lecturum 1917 notebooks. You've probably seen these if you're anything like me. What I'm saying is, I'm going to be doing a lot more writing in notebooks, finding the time, 10 minutes on a train, 5 minutes here. There's something about the ritual of getting the desk ready and thinking, oh, my desk is a bit messy, I have to clean up first, then getting on your computer and being like, oh, I should check this, I should check that. Like, yes, it sounds pathetic. It sounds pathetic even when I'm saying it out loud now, but these are the kinds of distractions that can hinder you, or that hinder me. And so I think having the notebook and just saying, any form of writing, just make it easy for yourself. It's in your bag at all times. You don't need to sit down. It doesn't need to be this ritualistic experience. You just do it. I think that is something that is going to help me out. Of course, to go with that, I also bought some nice fountain pens and things to try and make myself enjoy that process for as much as possible. And the third thing that I'm doing is this. I think everyone needs some sort of accountability. There needs to be accountability. And because it's hard to kind of motivate yourself when you're the only one that's doing it. So if you miss a writing day, or you don't, hit the goals that you've set out for yourself, it's a bit of a downer, but like, no one knows. There's no pressure other than the pressure within yourself. And the problem is, there's this constant internal battle between you and the person you want to be. And then there's other voice that just wants to sit on the couch and watch shitty TV and whatever it is, play video games, whatever it is that's your vice. And, I think you need like someone else on your team, because this is that person is a devious motherfucker, and sitting on the couch and watching TV is nice. So you need someone else on your team. So there's no one currently around me at the moment, and so I'm doing this, right? I'm making this video. I'm trying to commit to this YouTube channel in the hope that this will be my accountability. Like, I'm planning on doing like an update every month and kind of really, nailing it in and dialing it in and being the kind of person that I want to be, the kind of writer that I want to be, and hopefully this will keep me honest. If you are in my boat and you don't have someone to hold you accountable, then feel free to join me in this. Tell me what you're gonna do. Tell me what your goals are, and every month when we do a check-in, you can let me know. If I'm being completely honest, this doesn't feel a whole lot different than all of the things that I've done before. You could say that a YouTube channel is like being accountable, but at the end of the day, I've started a million YouTube channels and none of them ever go anywhere, and I never, this channel I've restarted like 3 times. So maybe it's just going to be another one of those things that I say that I will do and then don't do. But maybe not. And I think the other key is that, you can never stop trying to better yourself. And people might scoff and roll their eyes at resolutions, but all a resolution really is you just trying to live up to the person that you think that you can be. And that is a noble cause. So, listen, I'm committing, and maybe it'll all go in the bin, and maybe I'll look at this video in 6 months' time and I'll think, what an idiot, you failed again. But maybe not. So, if you've seen this video for the first time, consider subscribing to this channel, and maybe this might be something. Maybe it might be, and maybe you can be a part of that. But I still hope that you're nothing like me.